double whammy unboxing again. Hell yes. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're back doing another unboxing. And today we have some interesting packages here because I had to order these on AliExpress. So I order stuff from AliExpress now because there's a lot of like admittedly cool stuff. Oh crap, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Actually, wait, I think I can just tear into it with my hand. I ordered two things. I already see them both. This is gonna be fun. So, let's get the first one out of the way. Oh crap, I'm gonna have to censor that up. It's from BFB. Or actually, I can just say BFDI at large at this point because, like, they've appeared in more than one season. Ah, man. There's a hole at the top. Oh, whatever. But this is a 4 plush that's supposed to be like a bootleg of the U2's 4. So yeah, this is my first ever BFDI plushie. I would have waited for the other one, but like I'm not willing to spend that much on 4, to be honest. And like it doesn't ship out until November, so I guess I got this guy technically, so to speak, early. So here's what he looks like underneath, from the back. Although I guess my 4 thinks he's a humpback whale. And yeah, the actual shape. So there you go. I wasn't expecting it to be that large. And for Godzilla, because I did order a Godzilla, not to go with him, but just around the same time. Oh, wait. Styrofoam. Why can't they always ship them like this? Come on. Come on. There we go. So, let's see here. Of course he's in another plastic wrap. Actually, let's just cut open the tape because I'm getting kind of tired. This is a little excessive. Okay, so no labeling on this one. This is Godzilla the Ride, which is like the precursor to Minus One, which I think Takashi Yamazaki, the director of Minus One, also worked on. Ooh boy. Oh boy, that filament on the tail. Wasn't expecting it to be this large of a tail though. I significantly underestimate the size of these things. So, well, let's have everything all assembled and we'll make final judgments later. Okay, so that was easy. Yeah, I like this so far. I decided to get this because, like, it's the closest thing I can get right now to a 6-inch Minus One Goji for, like, a fair price. And, I mean, this is technically Minus One Goji, just without, like, the jutted out dorsal plates and the enlarged ones. Plus, Minus One Godzilla does use this design. So, to recap, this has been 4 from BFDI and Godzilla the Ride. So I do so hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone. Finally, we're taking a look at a Godzilla that's not of the MonsterVerse. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we're back doing another figure review. Today we're taking a look at the Bandai Bootleg MMS Godzilla the Ride. Yeah, so this is based on a 2021 theme park attraction, which I don't know if it's still open, probably not, but it was made by, or at least worked on by Takashi Yamazaki, who you guys might have also known from the Godzilla Minus One film, which, like, broke box office records and is one of the best Godzilla films of all time, period. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I would say it's definitely above, like, a lot of what came before, at least in terms of quality. Anyway, so this is based on that ride in particular, which Godzilla had a new design in that, and also there was a King Ghidorah in that one as well, and I think Rodan in it too. So this is that Godzilla. So to go coincide with the movie, Bandai decided to make a Godzilla figure, and this is not that figure because it's a bootleg. I won't probably get the original just because, like, I only have so much money in the world. And for second, I also wanted a... Okay, this is kind of where it gets a little tricky, because originally I'd wanted a -1 Godzilla. I couldn't find a 6-inch articulated one on AliExpress for a decent price, so I decided to settle for this one, which was Godzilla the Ride. It's close enough because the ride design is literally just the -1 design, precursor, I guess. The -1 design literally just takes this design and tweaks it a bit. So with that said, we're going to be taking a look at this guy. In a 3, a 2, a 1. Let's do it. So being a more simplified vinyl of the ride design, here we actually have a very cool sculpt, I will say. Again, this isn't based on any particular design from the films, but more its own unique design meant to go in a theme park attraction and then later used for the actual Godzilla Minus One film, which I must say, using this Godzilla design just tweaked was an absolutely amazing choice, because in my opinion, the -1 design, like, as a whole was very good, and the ride design was just, it was all awesome on its own. But let's see how the bootleg compares. So for the eyes, they're pretty much just solid white pupils. They don't really have a whole lot to them. They do the job, you know, they're just kind of there. Maybe they're not centered, of course it's a bootleg, it's to be expected. But what I do like about it is the actual, like, let's get the camera up a little bit higher here. The amazing detail work, which, like, just look at the head. The amount of dry brushing and wash that's on the vinyl, just really, it's actually really good, and I'm pleasantly surprised. See, like, if Monster Arts figures had this sort of painting, I'd actually really dig that. Bringing out more, like, the highlights and details, more like the scales on top, and then we have the mean eyebrow. Nostrils don't really have that much definition, of course, because when you're making a bootleg, you scan it, different angles and such, and then you dull it down. For the mouth, for the teeth, they're individually painted, although it's kind of weird because they're painted differently on both sides, because you have the left side here, well, I guess our left, which is, like, more aligned with the actual head, and then here we have the right side, again, our right, which is more, like, down sinking into the mouth itself, so you can kind of see it looks a bit iffy. But the teeth here do look kind of noticing that there's, like, 2 different colors here as well. So, like, here we have a bit of a brighter yellow compared to the more, like, saturated yellow. Also, what is of worth is the pink in the mouth, which isn't, like, fully painted. You can see where it kind of meets the teeth, doesn't really meet there. Little thins out from the jaw itself, so that's a bit of a bummer, but again, you're not going to be, like, paying attention to the mouth 24/7. What is cool as well is, again, you continue, like, the sculpted detail, you get, like, all those, like, ridges and such just throughout the neck, and then, yeah, speaking of the neck, you get, like, the segmenting here. And then, of course, you get all of the more, like, scales going down the figure. You can kind of see where the detail is, like, printed out in the factory, I guess, so to speak. Here we have the little chest spike, or the chest itself. Very detailed, very clumpy looking. Looks very cool with the green. I do like this more green take on Godzilla. I know, like, green Godzillas don't really come around that often, which is surprising given how many people think Godzilla's green. He's charcoal black. So this is a nice welcome addition. For the arms, you get this amazing amount of detail. Just look at that. Same dry brushing with elbow spike. That looks nice as well. For the hands, they're kind of in a weird position where they're like all aligned like this. So at first it almost looks like he just has 4 fingers and the thumb would be right there. No, that's the thumb. So they are in kind of a weird pose, but you do get like a very nice amount of paint and detail work. Kind of would have liked some claw paint, but c'est la vie, it is a bootleg. Again, you do get a lot of nice wash. I'm again pleasantly surprised by like the dry brushing on this thing, which it's surprisingly well done. Here, taking a look at the body here, the abdomen, very nice. All the folds and the skin looks almost very suit-esque. I like that Godzilla designs, say except for the MonsterVerse, have actually kept like the folds in the skin that actually look like it can be worn as a rubber suit. That I do like, even though this guy was, I think, completely CGI. Maybe use some motion capture. I mean, they used it for Shin. I don't know if they used it for Minus One Goji. I don't know. Anyways, for the dorsal plates, these are beautiful. Like, again, with the freaking cat fuzz. I have cats, so let's actually kind of like zoom out here. There we go. Just to get you guys a nice, better look at the dorsal plates here. Multiple rows on each side, and then you kind of get to like the bumpy skin. Very awesome. I think like the green could have had like a different shade here for the dorsal plates, but again, I do like the fact that they are painted and they just don't like cheapen out a bit. See, like they're even painted on the insides. That is actually really nice work. For the thighs here, which are actually pretty big and beefy, you do get a lot of the nice little intricate details here with the folds and the skin, the black showing and the green just kind of like overlapping, the kneecap and all the folds in the skin, all down to the back bent foot, which are going to be painted a brown. Now, I don't really agree with this color because it just looks weird seeing like all of this green and then you get like this brown color. Like this is, I think, the same one they used on the bootleg and then that Shin. I'll pull that figure out for the comparisons later, but yeah, you just get all like this nice detail underneath. And then here we have the tail, which actually has its own unique pose. It doesn't just droop down or just kind of like sway up. It actually curls in a little bit and then kind of straightens down. Then once it gets right here, curls a little bit to the left and then back to a neutral position. So there is some form of variation with the tail. That said, the detail work makes a return and you get all like this bumpy like nature with the skin. It looks very nice. Like you could literally trick me into believing that this was a legitimate product. That's how good it is. There, I said it. The detail work maybe having a little bit more of like a definition fix, but aside from that, this is actually like really well done. So just for one more look, here's the side, this side, from underneath, from the front, and from above. So for the Godzilla the Ride bootleg sculpt and paint, this thing is actually pretty fun. I am surprised by this. It's probably the best looking bootleg Godzilla I own. Like, I'm just gonna say, I've been collecting bootleg Godzillas for at least a little while now, and I have no problem saying that this one is probably the best. Like, at least visually looking. It has a really nice sculpt and paint, nice dry brush, and just overall looks the part. If I had some minor complaints, I would have liked some more paint variations with the things like the dorsal plates, the finger claws, and a different color for the toe claws. But aside from that, I think this thing is good, so I rate it an 8 out of 10. And next up we have articulation. There's nothing at the head, but for the arms, gotta love that squeak noise, huh? But yeah, you got a full 360 at the arms, just like that. For the legs, you can do a 360 here. Same on this side. And for the tail, you get a 360 here as well. So pretty much everywhere there's like posability, you get like essentially like 360. So you can get some decently gnarly poses. And let's try and like get a pose here going. trying to find like that sweet spot where the tail like gets balanced a little bit. Somewhere around there. Oh, there we go. There we go. So you can have your Godzilla pretty much get posed any which way you want. So as long as you actually want to work within those 5 joints. But overall, like, for a vinyl, it's pretty basic. It's pretty average, you know, nothing to complain about. I don't think the original MMS Godzilla the Ride figure had the articulation at the tail, much like my other bootleg figures do. Or like in certain segments, not all of them had tail movement, but this one does. I dig it. You do get some expressiveness out of the figure. You get a neutral position. You get some parts out of it. I think it's good. Trying to think here, like a 7 out of 10. I feel like feels nice. So there you go, 7 out of 10 for the articulation. So for a size comparison, here he is compared to the only other Godzilla Minus One related figure I have in my collection, or I guess the only Minus One figure I still even have, is the Minus One Bandai Band Presto Monster Roar Attack Spitfire variant. Which you can kind of see why I wanted to get these two together, because yes, there are obvious differences. One's more green, one's more brown, but they definitely look the part. They are very much similar. They are essentially the same core base Godzilla, that being the Godzilla the Ride design, because Minus One's design was essentially a modified version of Godzilla the Ride. The only like big differences that I think like casual people would point out is that Minus One had bigger dorsal plates than the Godzilla the Ride design. But as a whole, I think that these two go great together, and I'm happy to own these two. Well, that is until I get myself a proper 6-inch highly articulated Godzilla Minus One figure, which is sadly the only one that exists right now is the Monster Arts. Don't bring up that crappy Bandai. And here we have, speaking of, dare I say, Monster Arts and highly articulated action figures at large, here he is compared next to the Monster Arts 2001 Godzilla we previously took a look at, and of course, the NECA Godzilla 2003 Tokyo SOS, which I'm proud to say the next figure I'm getting is probably going to be the Hyper Maser Blast variant of this guy. About time, huh? And finally, here he is compared next to some other bootleg Bandai MMS figures with the Shin Godzilla I was talking about and the Gamera 1995, which, if anyone's wondering, this is kind of like what I meant by like the claws being identical colors. This one's a bit darker, but it's kind of more or less the same idea, which I know supporting bootlegs isn't necessarily a good thing, but I am grateful to have these. These allow me to get kaiju I never had in the collection before, and in a way, these two especially. And because I talked about him in my original review for this guy, here he is compared to the Battle for Dream Island U2's Bootleg 4 plush. And I got these two same day and day with each other, so that's cool. And so overall, what do I think of the Godzilla the Ride figure? I think that this thing is actually pretty fun. Is he perfect? No, no figure is. Unless you're the NECA 1989. Okay, that's not a perfect figure. It's near perfect, but it's not the perfect. Anyway, I think that this guy is a pretty damn sweet figure. Is he, like, the end-all, be-all? No. He's a fairly basic in the grand scheme of things figure, but for a bootleg, I've seen way worse. He has a very great sculpt and a very nice array of paint applications, and an articulation that's fairly serviceable. That said, I got this guy for like, what, 15 bucks on AliExpress? You can too. At least assuming you get a discount or something, which AliExpress just milks discounts severely. Not saying that's a bad thing. Keep going, AliExpress. That said, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more of these bootleg MMS figures in the future. So with that said, I'm going to rate my final score a 7.5 out of 10 for this guy. That said, if you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe because we're going to be doing this a whole lot more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.